am I even doing this? Why am I keep training so hard and sacrificing so much just to place third and beyond?
Case in Connecticut, there were two male track runners,
They were trans girls.
right, and who decided that they were going to race against the girls. And you look at those individuals, you look at their times against the men, against the boys, so they were kind of middle of the pack. And then they're racing the girls, so they're, first and second place. Is that indicative of some kind of unfair advantage that those individuals might have against the girls?
No, it's not indicative of an unfair advantage. And I think part of the proof of this is that more transgender girls are coming out in high school and still playing sports, and they're not winning. The Connecticut case is the exception. It got a lot of attention because those two trans girls performed well, but there are many more trans girls competing in sports, and they don't excel.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, whether or not you win a game is not about how hard you work in your practice, and most of us aren't going to win. And that goes for transgender athletes too.
Let's go, girls.
The norm is that transgender youth don't win that much in sports games.
Alana McLaughlin was very appreciative for Provost to take this fight. I don't know how appreciative now, but she got a couple punches in.
It is very much the exception when a transgender young person does win.
And the tap.
And it's because there's not really an advantage to being trans. Only a few people are going to lead the pack.
There are some slight differences, but does it translate to a competitive advantage? I think you'd be very hard-pressed to prove that.
If there was a big advantage to being transgender in sports, then we would see transgender women totally dominate.
And over the last half of the pool, nobody will touch Leah Thomas.
I feel like a woman. Transgender swimmer Leah Thomas breaking barriers and records. But in a new article, Sports Illustrated calls the college senior the most controversial athlete in America.
Leah obviously helps us do better, right? Leah's swimming really fast. Leah's performance helps the University of Pennsylvania swim team. The feeling of winning doesn't feel as good anymore because it feels tainted. There was a lot of things you couldn't talk about that were very concerning, like a locker room situation. If you even brought up concerns about it, you were transphobic. If you even bring up the fact that Leah swimming might not be fair, you were immediately shut down as being called a hateful person or transphobic.
But there's never any conversation. The coaches don't sit everyone down and acknowledge what everyone's really upset about.
So Penn actually brought in people high up in the athletic department to talk to us. They brought in someone from the LGBTQ center. They brought in someone from the psychological services.
So you're upset about what's happening, and so you need psychological help.
Yeah, and they told us in this meeting, they said, look, we understand there's an array of emotions, but Leah's swimming is a non-negotiable. However, we can help you make that okay. That's what we're here for.
So you're anonymous for this interview. Why did you decide that you can't have your face out there saying these things?
They made it pretty clear that if you speak up about it and you say anything negative, that your life will be over in some way. You'll be blasted all over the internet as a transphobe if you come out, and then you'll never be able to get a job. Anyone who wants to hire you will look you up and see you're transphobic, and your life will be over.
Let's say that I identified as a woman tomorrow, and I wanted to go into the same locker room where you are. Should I be allowed to do that? As long as I identify that way?
I don't know. I just feel that other women would be uncomfortable by you walking in there.
Ella dice que qué tú piensas acerca de que los hombres que son transexuales usen baños de mujeres. ¿Tú crees que está bien? Pero dilo.
No, porque tienen bien.
Controversy at a health club in Koreatown over the issue of gender.
That's right. Video of spa goers complaining was posted on social media.
I just want to be clear with you. It's okay for a man to go into the women's section, show his penis around the other women, young little girls underage. Your spa, we spa, condone that. Is that what you're saying? like I asked. It's so he can stay there. He can stay there. What sexual orientation? I see a dick.
See a dick.
With
sexual orientation.
Jared Morager of Riverside County. Morager, who has been a registered sex offender since 2006, now faces 5 felony counts of indecent exposure.
Hello, I'm Congressman Mark Takano. Trans Month of Visibility is a time to recognize the strength, diversity, and resilience of the transgender community. Together, we can make our country and our world a more accepting place by speaking out against transphobia at the source and supporting the trans community by getting the Equality Act signed into law.
Congressman, thank you for being
Watch
here.
his
Thanks for
body
joining us.
language.
You are the
It's
first
so uncomfortable
member of Congress who's a member of the LGBT community and also a person of Asian descent. You're also a big proponent of the Equality Act.
Yes.
What is the Equality Act? If you were to just summarize it very briefly, I know it does a lot.
The most simplest way to talk about the Equality Act is that it simply amends the 1964 Civil Rights Act to include sexual orientation and gender identity. So public accommodations is one area.
What's a way that someone who's LGBT could be discriminated in public accommodations currently?
Currently, public accommodations is the whole area of, hotels and motels and
bathrooms and sports teams. Is that?
I say bathrooms, sports teams, athletic events.
Let's get into more specific policy issues. There are some women who say, and I've talked to a few who say this. They say, hey, I'd like some privacy in the bathroom. I'd prefer not to encounter naked penises, frankly. They say even that the penis is a telltale sign.
He's so uncomfortable.
That
He's
someone is
looking
male.
behind him.
I mean, there are people who kind of really bought into the rumor that only men have penises. How do we account for that? How do you respond to that?
Well, what I would say is that most transgender people that I know, and it's a very, I think, distinct minority of people. It is a very, I think, we're talking not about a lot of people. I think a person who wants to use a woman's bathroom, who identifies as transgender, really does think of themselves as a female. So how we go about trying to, respect their basic right to live, I think will be an important part of this law. And bathrooms. Well, bathrooms are, where you want to take this conversation instead of the basic right to just life is something that I'm kind of mystified that you're kind of not focusing on first. So we're going straight to controversy over bathrooms. So you know what? I think this interview is over.
Yeah.
I think this interview is over.
I just had one last question.
The interview's over.
We want to know what is a woman?
Please turn off the cameras.
Excuse me. So we're gonna end the interview. If you guys could please pack up and return the office exactly.
I just wanted to know. I came all this way to know what. They're fair question. I just wanted to know what is a woman.
And you're not gonna find out.
Well, you got ran off.
My trip to California isn't providing many answers, but at least I'm making new friends.
Oh dear.
You worry about kids walking around out here?
No, because I raised two daughters. They're two of the most well-adjusted adults. They grew up around naked people, and there's been studies that have shown that children raised around non-sexual nudity actually have fewer hang-ups when they're adults.
People do have hang-ups. There's a lot of things hanging right now during this conversation. Can anyone be any gender they want to be? Can a man become a woman if he wants to be?
I leave that. I mean, what people do that's personal choice. People can live the life they want to. I'm trying to live the life I want to, an authentic life, and
I can see
that's
that.
why I respect other people's rights to choose what they want to do.
Well, why are you asking a gay man as to what it means to be a woman? You should be asking women what it means to be a woman, especially trans women, what it means to be a woman.
I'm asking all kinds of people. Can anyone have an opinion about it?
Only people who are women. Gay men don't know nothing about what it means to be a woman.
Have you told gay men here in San Francisco that they're not allowed to talk about this?
No. But it's not like I come around and say what a gay man is allowed to be.
You're saying if you're not a woman, then you shouldn't have an opinion.
Where does a guy get a right to say what a woman is? Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is?
Owned.
This is actually a genuine mistake. I am sorry I even came up there.
She
You
got
want to tell
owned.
us what a woman is?
Oh no.
If my friend in the purple hat is correct, and only women can tell me what a woman is, I guess I need to go where the women are.
What is a woman? Can you tell me that? Well, you're at the Women's March. You must have some idea. So, I see girls, vagina. Does that mean that they're the only people who can get pregnant?
If men can get pregnant too, I think they'd want the right to choose.
But men can get pregnant?
We're saying someone who was born as a woman but identifies as a man. That
Is that a man?
real man.
It's a real man.
Yeah.
So men can get pregnant.
Yes, if we're saying it. Yes. They have the parts to do so.
Is it just women that give birth, or is it?
Or I guess, yeah.
So men can give birth too?
Anyone with a vagina.
Well, that could be a man or a woman.
Well, I mean, I think that's the whole point, right? That it's fluid. The way that we define these things changes a lot. What are you doing?
I'm asking these questions.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what a woman is. That's why I'm here. And this is the Women's March. I figured this is a good place to find out. I've come all this way to ask that question. Can anyone tell me what a woman is?
You are not here for women! We ask you to leave!
What is that?
What is that?
He's
terrible.
harassing. I'm asking a question.
Whose body?
I don't agree with a lot of things this guy says. I gotta
What is a
admit,
woman? Can anyone here at the Women's March?
watching him troll is fucking hilarious.
How about you tell me what a woman is and I'll put a mask on? Sir, tell me what a woman is and I'll put a mask on.
Damn.
Please, if one person could tell me what a woman is.
Assholes.
Do you guys know what a woman is by any chance?
They're not gonna answer him.
I've been all over America. I still can't find an answer. Maybe I'm looking too close to home. We came a long way to come and talk to you guys, thousands of miles from America. So thank you for inviting us into your tribe, first of all.
I can say it is my pleasure to meet you and feel most welcome. But you're here to learn with me. I'm here to learn with you too.
Great.
What's the right form here?
It's just,
Just with the elbow?
yeah.
I mean, they're laughing, so I guess it's not good, but I thought it was pretty good. Not good enough to be a man yet in our tribe, but what does a man do? What are his roles within the tribe?
At the role of a man, you need to work for your woman. Secondly, to have children. If you have children and you don't have something to feed them, you are not still a man. Okay,
There you go.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the blood.
Okay, he says.
It's the best raw kidney I've had in my life. What if a man decides that he wants to do the roles of a woman?
Kidogro orna yende hikunya lele aines ndogringengro. In Maasai community, it will not exist at all.
Doesn't exist? What if a man decides that his gender identity is woman?
Kidogro orna inne le ne aga wanna ingro. A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
What about a transgender?
A what?
Transgender?
No.
No?
It will look like if you want to become a lady but you're a man, you have something wrong in
Something
your mind.
wrong.
Something wrong in your family, something wrong in you.
He's eating this up. You can tell.
What about if someone was non-binary?
Come again?
Come again?
Non-binary? You know, like non... Like someone is...
You're not a woman, you're not a man.
Yeah, someone is neither. There's something else. Is that...
He's saying we have never seen things like those. For a man, he has a penis. For a woman, he has a vagina. So we know this is a lady, this is a man.
What if it's a woman with a... What if it's a woman with a penis?
Both?
What? What?
That, people are laughing. Is that a dumb question?
They're just laughing because they have never heard something like that. This is their first time.
Never heard it before.
A woman have a penis, and she is a woman.
In my country, I can't go a day without hearing it. We hear it every day. So in my country, sometimes you'll hear people say, a man will say that I'm a woman trapped in a man's body, and so they say that I have a woman trapped inside me.
They want to know a woman has the breast.
Breast. Yeah.
Secondly, she has a vagina.
Vagina.
And the question is, does this man deliver?
Does he deliver babies?
No.
No, not as far as I know.
The question is, let's say if you want to sleep a woman, definitely you do sex.
Sex with a woman. Yeah.
And you the vagina, is it? But for the man, where do you You have that question.
I don't know all the logistics of it. Based on what I'm saying, would you ever want to move to America?
They say no.
Stay with
Never.
What is a woman if you had to give it a definition?
That's simple.
She's saying a woman delivered, a man cannot.
So it sounds like you don't spend a lot of time thinking about gender. You just kind of live your lives. You don't think much about it.
He said, No, because we believe that's the God plan.
God's plan?
He's saying that I'm shocked on what you are telling me.
He's shocked.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can take out when they
Inside
say
people
God,
don't think
put
much
it in
about
nature,
gender.
and it's pretty
But
much
they
the
have a
same
firm
deal.
sense of their identity. It's clear that gender ideology is a uniquely Western phenomenon. So where did all this come from? Who came up with
I
it?
don't think mutilating the
Why?
human body is part of nature's plan.
Matt, I want to show this to you. You're a parent, right? Okay? It's perfectly normal for 10 years and up. Here's just one page I want you to see here.
Really?
For 10 and up, huh?
It's unspeakable what these people.
Sex with a woman.
Oh
And
my
you,
goodness.
the vagina, is it? But
10 up, huh?
I messed
It's
it up.
unspeakable what
Yeah,
these
it
people
was showing
have done to our children.
When did that
Pre-listed.
start? When was it decided that we need to start teaching kids about this stuff at such a young age?
So
Let me
I'll
fix
answer
this.
that with one word.
I'm getting tired of this
Kinsey.
interrupting.
Kinsey was a social reformer. He wanted to rid society of Judeo-Christian values when it came to sexuality. And he worked very hard to do that, and I would say he succeeded.
Kinsey would be very happy with our culture today. His idea was that children are sexual from birth, that we're all inherently sexual creatures from cradle to grave. He believed that true happiness is found in a life of perverse sexual experimentation, no matter the age.
What came out is that his research was fraudulent.
Kinsey based his fraudulent conclusions on data he collected from convicted sex offenders and child molesters. His research was conducted in prisons, not everyday America. He also performed horrific sexual experiments on children, some under the age of 1.
That's messed up.
His most influential book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, contains an infamous chart called Table 34, which documents the orgasms of very young kids, including babies as young as 5 months old.
That's fucked up.
But instead of suffering the consequences for his heinous actions, he was and still is celebrated by academia and Hollywood. His ideas form the foundation for sexual education in public schools today. How do we get from this to you can choose your own gender?
Okay, well, now we have another very important character, and his name was John Money.
John Money was a psychologist and professor at Johns Hopkins University. Gender ideology was his brainchild. In fact, he coined the terms gender identity and gender roles. And according to Money, babies are gender neutral at birth. And ultimately, environment determines whether a person is a man or a woman.
Money was telling the world about his theory that a boy could be raised as a girl and do just fine, and vice versa.
And so Money tried out his theory on 2 young twin boys, the Reimer twins.
When the twins were 8 months old and they went to be circumcised, the first twin, whose name was Bruce, something went wrong with the machinery and his penis was burnt off. They stopped and didn't do a second circumcision on the other twin, as you might imagine. And the parents, of course, didn't know what to do. How are they going to raise this child?
John Money convinced Bruce's parents to transition him into a girl. Money also conducted sexually abusive experiments on the twins throughout their childhood, including forcing them to simulate sex acts on each other.
He reported up to the age of 10 that this was a complete success. Well, it wasn't true.
The results were a disaster. Bruce could never fully accept his female identity. Eventually, his parents told him the truth, and he chose to transition back to a boy, taking the name David. As an adult, David spoke out about the abuse and the damage done to him by John Money.
The girls would do their things with their Barbies and things like that, and that wouldn't interest me. And things such as trucks and building forts and, getting to the odd fist fight and climbing trees, that's the kind of stuff that I like, but it was unacceptable, so I'd never...
As a girl.
As a girl, I had no place to fit in.
The trauma that he and his brother and his entire family went through left deep scars. His brother died of an overdose when he was 38, and then David committed suicide.
There was never a retraction or an apology from John Money.
Instead, his ideas were adopted by mainstream psychology, and they form the basis of gender ideology today. Why don't more people know about John Money and Alfred Kinsey?
Evidently, there are forces that don't want this information out.
I never fit. I was an alpha female, a sales executive that kind of just didn't fit in any box. When psychologists or somebody that I was in love with or whatever said that I was in the wrong body, I started to think, well, maybe I am.
I see she would have been an attractive woman.
I'm a biological woman
But,
that medically transitioned to appear like a male through synthetic hormones and surgery. I will never be a man. Is it transphobic for me to tell the truth? Why is it that a couple hundred years from now, if you dug up my body, they're going to go, yeah, that was a woman. Had babies.
Can you tell me about the procedures that you had?
I've had 7 surgeries. I've had 1 stress heart attack. I've had a helicopter life ride with a pulmonary embolism. I've had 17 rounds of antibiotics. I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra for 17 months. Nobody would help me, including the doctor that did this to me because I lost my insurance. I get infections every 3 to 4 months. I'm probably not going to live very long.
Was there any real discussion of the risks and the side effects? And
No, there's not. And I know that people want to think that there is, but there's not. The truth is that medical transition is experimental. We have studies that said that medical transition helps mental health with kids. They've all been retracted, modified, changed. But the only long-term study tells us 7 to 10 years is when transgender people are the most suicidal.
After?
After surgery. But that's transphobic to say. For the first time in history, a marginalized group has a huge dollar sign on the top of their head. We have 5 children's hospitals in the United States promoting that.
What?
That's a phalloplasty. That's a bottom surgery. We have 5 children's hospitals in the United States telling girls that they can be boys at $70,000 a pop in a surgery that has a 67% complication rate. That will kill me from infection, that I can't sue on. We're butchering a generation of children because nobody's willing to talk about anything. I have 3 kids. At the age that they're doing this to kids, I'm not transphobic. I love my kids, and I love other people's kids, and you should too. This is wrong on so many levels.
Can kids consent? Do you think kids are
No.
capable of consenting?
No, they're not. Being a parent is loving the hell out of your kids and helping them see around corners.
What's the youngest patient that you've operated on?
The youngest patient I've done vaginoplasty on
since that's almost at 30. Oop. We'll let it go.
is age 16.
Do you worry that minors
Let me check something.
just don't understand enough about themselves or are not neurologically developed enough yet to make permanent life-altering decisions?
Absolutely not.
A young person's self-perception, one day they may be clear, the next day they may be totally confused and not sure, and you're affirming it with hormones that have never been used in this way in the field of medicine.
You're talking about puberty blockers?
Blockers and then opposite sex hormones.
And at what age does the medical transition begin with medication?
All right.